Hello my friends, and welcome to the stream. I hope your Saturday is going well for you. Mine's going pretty well. I'm excited today. We're gonna get some more work done on this, that seems a little too loud. Hang on a second. Maybe it's not too loud for you, but sorry, it's a little too loud for me. So, we're going to get some work done on this, game collection inventory. I think this is the last... I think this will be the last piece of it that covers streamable games. We're going to do the NES collection. I've got a couple odds and ends to fill in along with that. But the vast, overwhelming majority of what we do here is going to be inventorying my NES games. And my collection is viewable for those who might be interested. My VG Collect page. I can spell the word collection. There you are. Of course, it doesn't get updated right away. It's up to date with everything that I've inventoried so far currently, I believe. It's at, I think, 848 games. And our work today should push us over 1,000. I don't really want to make promises I can't keep, but at the end of the stream, we might actually play a game as well. We'll see. Because this is a lot of games. It's going to take a very long time. But depending on how quickly we get through this, we may also play a game. I don't know. I got my new AV cables for my Genesis in today, and I'm very excited to play a Genesis game that doesn't look completely terrible. the switch to RCA cables from RF has done very good things for my Genesis. All right, so let me get my icon out of the way. Let's pull up that table. And I'm going to grab just a few things and we'll get rolling here. Okay. Sorry about that. You know, I could have shown up prepared, but where would the fun have been in that? Okay, so before we get to the NES, we're going to take care of these sort of handful of things here. I got two things that just showed up today. I've got my in television games, a super small collection. And then this is, believe me, this is, if you think this is all of my NES games, oh no. Oh no, this is like 2% of them. These are just the things I've been playing lately. Alright, so, but first, let's catch up on these odds and ends here. I've got Men in Black on Game Boy Color. I actually ordered this several weeks ago. I ordered this and Men in Black 2 just as some sort of filler items so I could get free shipping. And this actually got canceled. They couldn't find it or something. I don't know. But they sent me Men in Black 2, and then I lost so much sleep over having the second game in my collection and not the first. But now I finally feel complete again. And in a similar situation is on the Super Nintendo, Joe and Mac. This game almost seems like a bootleg. There's nothing that seems artificial about it. It's just the cover, the sticker on it looks fake to me. Not like the quality of the sticker, but the design. It's so simple. It's so weird. And then the cartridge is so clean. But, like, it doesn't feel like it's made out of that weird plastic. The sticker doesn't look... artificial. Like, it all looks legit. It's just, it's too clean. And the design too simple. But I have Joe and Mac 2. And I didn't have Joe and Mac 1. And so now I finally corrected that. I know there are several versions of Joe and Mac 1, but Part 2 is on the Super Nintendo, so might as well go with the Super Nintendo version of Part 1. Okay, great. I want to keep these nearby, so I remember to add them to VG Collect later. And now we'll create a collection in my app for Intellivision. Number of copies. Number of manual, number of box. Okay, and here we go. Let me move these off, maybe off the table will be better. In no particular order. First is bump and jump. I mean, these are going to be real boring to look at. They're all the same. They're all just black cartridges with a label on them, pretty much. Look at how wrinkly that label is too. Like someone scratched it with a pen and it's gotten wet. Pally, great to see you. Hey, thanks for dropping in. Hello. welcome to another inventory stream. So I'm gonna catalog my Intellivision games, which I only have a few. It's a small handful. And then we're gonna do my NES games. And don't let this small stack fool you. I have a lot of NES games. Probably, I mean, I don't have as many as some people, but you know, I have about 150 NES games. That's big for me. I mean, I know there are people with like 600 NES games, but you love these. I love to hear it. Oh, let me show you something cool. This doesn't have anything to do with anything, but I think you'll like it. Because we were talking about the Mario Brothers movie before, and I actually have the action figures that were released in combination with the movie. This here, that's a Goomba. I know you can't see him very well, especially with the glare. That's what the Goombas look like in the movie. So, they actually released 6 figures. Of course, Mario and Luigi, King Koopa, Iggy and Spike, who just look like regular 80s dudes, and then a Goomba. And I have all 6 of the figures loose. They're complete, but they're not in the cases. And then I've got 2 of them. I have duplicates of 2 of them in the cases. I've got the Goomba, and I also have Luigi, but I don't know where he's floating around right now. Yeah, from the old Mario Brothers movie, from the one from the early 90s. I have a lot of memorabilia for that movie. Because I'm crazy and I love it. Alright, so Intellivision, bump and jump. Some of these games will be a little more interesting because I have the boxes for them. I hope you do get around to watching it, because you'll see just how amazingly great the movie is, and just how crazy I am for thinking that. Alright, next up, Snafu. Can't even see the title because there's too much glare. Maybe if I actually need to put the top of the game into shadow. Sorry, I'm kind of blocking your view here now. It's just these games are at the wrong angle. Are those Atari games? So these are Intellivision games. Intellivision was roughly at the same time as Atari. It's very similar. Sir Punks-a-Lot, welcome in. Hey, thank you for the gift sub. I don't think Master Tuesday is here, but I know he's going to enjoy it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Punk. Great to see you. I'm glad you're here. Sorry, I'm not playing a game. I'm just doing inventory. Next up is Space Armada. And right now I'm inventorying the least visually interesting games in my collection. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here's a fancy cartridge. Donkey Kong. Good old Donkey Kong. There's a sticker on the back. It says, insert other side up. The Intellivision is wild. The controllers for the Intellivision are, first of all, they're on like curly phone wires. They're hardwired onto the console, and then the controller, it's one of those that look like a phone because it's got a number pad, a full number pad on it, and then it's got this weird disc that you use as like their equivalent of the D-pad. It's very, very bizarre. Okay. Astro Smash. Next up, Burger Time. Burger Time is one of the worst things I've done on stream. I didn't play this version of it. I played it on the NES, and I was so bad at it. It was so terrible. I couldn't get past the second stage in Burger Time on the NES. And that's a game I used to play a lot on the Game Boy, and I thought I used to be pretty good at it, but the NES version just ran circles around me. And so for Burger Time, I actually have the manual. With the inlays. Nice. So because the Intellivision controller is just a number pad, a lot, maybe all of the games came with these sort of like, you know, semi-laminated pieces of paper that you would slide onto the controller to cover up the numbers so you could figure out what the buttons were supposed to do. And of course, one for each controller. And I got the box. It's a little worse for the wear. Looking like somebody sat on it at some point. But I think that makes this game complete. I think that means I have all the pieces of it here. I never know how I should lay this stuff out for the photo. So I've kept my games in their boxes separate for a very long time now, but now that I actually have a display case, or, you know, display shelves, maybe I should start keeping these together. I think that's what we'll do. Alright, I got two more. Bomb Squad. And something I didn't notice, so this is one of the games that uses the IntelliVoice voice synthesis module, which is an add-on to the Intellivision that makes the games talk. And I think all of the IntelliVoice compatible games have sort of metallic labels, because I have two of these games. They both have metallic labels, and they're the only ones that do. Oh, cool! I didn't know how this worked. So I've got the case for Bomb Squad as well, and it actually opens with like a flap, like a book, and it's got a little slot for the overlays. Guess I should turn that right side up. And it's got another slot for the manual. Like, I like how that's designed. That's good. That's really cool. This manual is much bigger than the other one, though, so I can't lay them out in the same way. Not exactly. Okay, last game, another IntelliVoice game. This one is Space Spartans. These, the IntelliVoice games are way heavier than the regular games. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Alright, so Space Spartans look very similar to Bomb Squad. They weren't super, you know, imaginative with the artwork, but I guess that's I guess uniformity is nice in its own way. I've got one overlay, so I don't know if that means this is a single player game or if just the other overlay has been lost to time. And a manual, and I'll flip through it and see if the other overlay might be tucked inside. Oh, look, there's a picture of the controller there to give you an idea. So there's your disc, that's your D-pad, and then your number pad up at the top. And that is the entirety of my Intellivision collection. Oh, I guess there's one more thing. It's not a game, but we might as well take a look. IntelliVoice voice synthesis module. And you can kind of see, you can barely see it here in the picture. Like, this is the module sitting next to the Intellivision console, and the games stick into the side over there. I think that actually the game port for the Intellivision is over here on the side, and the IntelliVoice sticks into the game port for the Intellivision, and so that's why the games are over here where they are. Yeah, so see, it's got like a game-shaped sort of protrusion over there on the side to plug in. And the sound doesn't come from the television, it comes directly from the box, so it's got its own like volume slider built onto it. And that's it. I don't have any paperwork or anything for it, but it's nice to have the box. So we'll play with this some night on stream, I'm sure. And it'll be a very weird time. Alright, let me get the Intellivision stuff out of the way, and then should finally be time for NES. At some point, I've got to re-photograph my copy of Atari Pac-Man, because I just came across my Atari Pac-Man manual, and I don't think I included that in the photo. I believe this is the only Atari game I own a manual for. Sorry, I'm just taking a moment to sort of semi-alphabetize my NES manuals because they're all scrambled. And actually, the games aren't alphabetized though, so I guess this doesn't make a big difference. Well, I need to at least look through them so I don't have to retake a lot of photos. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make 2 piles. I'm going to make piles. Manuals for games I think I own, and manuals for games I don't. Okay, hopefully that works. So the thing about NES manuals, I don't think a single NES game in my collection came with a manual. So I had an NES when the system was current when I was a kid, and we had several games for it. I guess even back then though, we were probably buying our games secondhand. I remember having the games, but I don't remember having boxes or manuals for any of the games that I owned. None of the NES games when I was a kid. But at some point, my parents either sold or got rid of the NES. I'm not really sure what happened to it. It just went away at some point. Some point, I think around the time we got the SNES. And then when I was in middle school, I started getting an interest in older games again. And so I bought an NES from a friend at school. And it came with a handful of games, and then from then I just started buying NES cartridges. But I've always bought them loose and incomplete, and I don't think a single one ever came with a manual. I have a handful of NES manuals, and all of these I have because when I worked as a bookseller, I met someone at the bookstore who had a bunch of NES manuals that they brought in with some books that they wanted to sell to the store, and I told them, I said, like, these are really cool, but we wouldn't have any use for them here at the store. They're not something we could sell, so you should just take them back. And the person told me, oh, just throw them away. Just throw them away, never. Never. So I pocketed them, and so now I have a handful of NES manuals, and and they're all random. So I have the games that go with some of them, and I don't have the games that go with others. Lucky duck. I think it was very lucky, especially because I've got 2 that I'm really happy to have. But we'll get to them. So this small stack here is the stuff I've been playing lately. If you've watched my streams, not all these are things I've played, but most of them are things I've been playing lately. So these will all be familiar to you if you've been hanging around the stream. First up is Super C, one of my new favorites. I love Super C. I've played through it now, a dozen times. It's really fun. I'm gonna keep grinding away at this game until I can pull off the amazing deathless run. It's crazy to think how many of these games, like Super C, like I might have bought this like 12 years ago, or maybe even more, and it's just sat in my collection for all of this time, and I've only played it last month for the first time. It's crazy to think how long these games have been just sitting, waiting to be played, and now I'm finally getting around to them. Some of them are so pricey that I debate about just printing my own little manual to add to the boxes that need completion. That's one way to do it. For the most part, though, like I don't go out of my way to buy boxes and manuals. I'm too Spartan in my philosophy. I only care about the practicality of just the functioning cartridge. The manual's nice, especially for retro games. Like, the manual is often part of the game, and if you don't have the manual, you don't know what to do. The boxes I'm not really interested in. I mean, I get why people like them. Like, they're nice for display, they're beautiful artwork, and they're good to preserve. I'm just saying, for me, I don't really go out of my way for them. But the manuals I like. They're nice to have, like I said, because they're part of the game in a big way. But so many of them you can just find digitally that I'm really not going to go out of my way to buy a manual. All right, Wizards and Warriors. Just played this for the first time very recently. Played all the way. We got all the way through it in one sitting. This game is, I think, pretty good. It is definitely flawed in some major ways, but it's really easy, so it's easy to overlook those flaws, because at least it's not making you suffer the whole time you play it. And it's got some really cool ideas. Mega Man 6. I agree. I mostly want them for the GameCube, since I don't like to keep the discs loose. Yeah, for discs, I get it. Again, all of my discs are in sleeves, not because I prefer to have them that way, but just because I had to condense the space. I had to condense the number of boxes I could fit them in because I moved too much. But yeah, especially for discs, I think the case can be pretty important. But GameCube stuff is outrageously expensive. GameCube games are crazy expensive. Like, I really want to play Pikmin 2. But I only do original hardware, and I don't own a copy of it, so I don't know that it's ever going to happen. If you live closer, I'd let you borrow it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the offer. Alright, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. This game, I actually haven't played it in a while. I've been slacking. This game has given me some rough times. I still haven't made it all the way through. And I'll be okay. I can get a hold of Pikmin 3 pretty easily now that it's on the Switch, so there is more Pikmin for me to play. I'll just have to skip 2 for a while. Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors 2. We'll probably be playing this on stream sometime in the next couple weeks. Monster Party. This game is ultimately pretty disappointing. It starts off so strong with an amazing first level, and then it's kind of diminishing returns. The longer you play the game, the less interesting it becomes. I mean, I don't mind sending it to you to play, and when you're done, you could send it back. But I don't know if you want to spend money on shipping. And again, bubble mailers aren't bad. Thank you for the offer, Pally. I don't know. I don't feel like I'm in any immediate need, but I do appreciate the offer. Monster Party is definitely worth playing. Just for the first level, I think it's worth playing. But I don't really know that it's necessary to own this game. Ninja Gaiden, another game that's been giving me a really hard time. At least, unlike Turtles, at least I can beat this game, and fairly regularly. It just takes a long time. I really want to be able to do a deathless run in this game too, but it's so much harder than the other games that I've worked on. And Super C has kind of pushed this game to the side for now. Okay, so let me just double check that I didn't have the manual for any of those things. Doesn't look like it. So we'll set those aside. Let me go get another chunk of games. So I keep my NES games in 3 different areas in my room. I've got some in rental cases, just lined up on a shelf. And then I've got some in a spinning display case. And then I've got loose games on another shelf. So that's one of the reasons I put inventorying this collection off for so long, is because it's so scattered around the room. I think these will be in reverse alphabet, and so, you know, the rental cases are like these, you know, kind of things. Everyone probably knows what I'm talking about, but just in case. So first up is Zelda 2. I'm a monster. I like Zelda 2 more than Zelda 1. I'm probably one of the only, like, few people. There's probably like 10 of us on the whole planet. So this is what's really cool about getting those the manuals for free. Some of them are really good manuals. Like, I got the one for Zelda 2. What do you like about 2 more? Haven't played either. So I like 2. So 1 is top down, 2 is a side scroller, and that makes it very weird right from the start. I like the side scrolling parts of Zelda 2. I like the combat in the game. The combat's pretty fun. It's not, the thing about the combat is, like, it's clear the way that you're supposed to do combat with enemies is that you're supposed to, like, be in, like, really close quarters with them and trade, like, standing and ducking slashes and use your shield to block. It's clear that, like, there's an intended combat, which is kind of like what I just described, but that's not the way you'll end up playing it. What you'll end up doing is you'll end up getting to this pattern where you keep jump attacking the enemy to sort of cheese him. But even that sort of, like, that cheesy strategy, there's a particular rhythm to the jump slashes that you get in that's really satisfying. So even though it's not the intended combat, it's still really fun combat. I love the sort of rhythm that you get into with the villains. And I like the music. I like the sort of dark mood and vibe the game has to it. So yeah, I'm just a big fan of it. I don't dislike Zelda 1. Zelda 1 is still great. I do have problems with it that I don't have in this game as much. Grape Sody, welcome in. Great to have you here. Happy Saturday to you as well. Zelda 1 is really cool. The only thing that I don't like about Zelda 1, and actually this is weird because I was thinking about it today, and I might actually revise my opinion. But currently the thing I don't like about Zelda 1 is that so many of the secrets are hidden in a way that really the only way to find them is to bomb every wall, burn every bush. Like, you just kind of have to brute force process of elimination a lot of the secrets in the game, and that's very tedious. And because it's so tedious, because that process, like playing Zelda 1 blind, I think must be a nightmare. Oh, but I said I was rethinking that, and I do have to say a powerful counter argument to that is that the bomb every wall, burn every bush, sort of nature of the secrets can be a good thing, because it does mean that secrets can be hidden anywhere. And if I look at the game through the lens of that possibility, it's a little more appealing to me. More and more I hear people say they prefer 2 over 1. I really need to play through 2. Yeah. So it's kind of the thing, because like A Link to the Past is so good because it fixed a lot of the issues with the first Zelda game. But there's still things that I don't really like about it. Link to the Past fixed some of the problems with Zelda 1, but it kind of overcorrected. Because I feel like in A Link to the Past, the secrets are way too easy to find. Alright, Super Mario Bros. 3. Most of the stuff that's in these rental cases is going to be the stuff that's like, it's going to be the stuff that's like the most mainstream games, the like really big titles that like, there's not going to be anything like surprising or weird here in this section. These are all super great games. I'm just saying, there's not going to be anything surprising here necessarily. Super Mario Bros. 2. I love Super Mario Bros. 2. I debate with myself. I go back and forth over whether I like Mario Bros. 3 or 2 more. I think Mario Bros. 3 is my favorite 2D Mario game. I wish the levels were longer. The levels are so short in Mario Bros. 3. That's the only thing. The levels are terribly short in Mario Bros. 3. A Link to the Past was a hard game sometimes. Some of the stuff in A Link to the Past is pretty challenging. Some of the bosses are pretty tough. I'm not saying it's, you know, a super easy game. I mean, it's not the hardest game in the world, but it's not without its challenges. I was just specifically thinking about the secrets. Most of the secrets are like, you know, because like the bombable walls are super obvious. Like they're so heavily telegraphed that you really can't miss them in A Link to the Past. Super Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt. Might not really be appropriate to include the Duck Hunt manual in the photograph of the combo cart, but I'm going to do it anyway. I just found Super Mario Bros. By itself and Duck Hunt 2 so I can get rid of the conjoined one. Why would you do that, Pally? The double pack is classic. You've got to keep all three. Alright, here's a game you probably don't hear about all the time. Shatterhand. This game's really fun. I haven't beaten it yet, though. I need to get to it. This is a really cool game. I don't see the point of having 2 copies of games, but I don't know, conjoined games look weird to me. I keep 2 copies of some games. I try not to keep more than 2 copies of any game in my collection, but some games I do have doubled up. Oh, not all of my rental cases match. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but the Shatterhand one is like really tall. And then the next game I keep in this sort of smoky gray rental case, and this one is for Metroid. The original Metroid is a game I really, really want to love, but it just makes itself so difficult to love. I didn't grow up with the NES, so I didn't know that was the classic one. I think it's actually, well, that's the thing. I think it's more common to find Mario Kart combined with Duck Hunt because that's what they included with the console. I mean, they did other pack-ins, but like that's the one that the Mario Kart / Duck Hunt was like the big pack-in that like most people got. So like for people who had an NES growing up, they almost certainly had Mario Kart / Duck Hunt. It would be very unusual for someone not to have had, well, not very unusual, but they either had that or they had, later on there was a triple pack with Mario, Duck Hunt, and World Class Track Meet, I think. So you probably had one of those too if you had an NES as a kid. Mega Man 5. We're gonna get through all. I have all six of the Mega Man games. We've already seen 6. Now we're gonna see the other 5. I like having combo packs, but it really depends on the game. Like, I have Dark Souls on PS3 and PS4. Makes sense. I'll buy the combos if I don't have them separate, but when I find them separate, I replace the combos. So I think Pally, I think that I actually kind of agree with you though, because I do think I prefer to have my games standalone rather than packed into collections. Yeah, I think I prefer them standalone, but if I have a game in a collection, I'm not very likely to try and replace it. Like I'm never gonna buy, like I've got Mario Kart / Duck Hunt. I'm never gonna buy those two games separately. The only way I would do that is if I already owned every single other NES game, and those are the only two left to buy. I only do it because the money I use selling my dupes I use to buy more. Well, there you go. You don't have to do the same thing. You don't have to do the same things as me. Mega Man 4. Which game? I'm not sure what the question means, Pally. What? What do you mean, Zinshan? Which game? You said you wouldn't replace something. Oh, Mario Kart. Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt. I have that in the combo cart. I wouldn't bother getting the individual games and replacing it myself, is just what I was saying. If I have a game in a collection, then I never seek it out individually. I actually prefer to have individual games. I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well. So, what I'm trying to say is, like, when I look at my collection on the shelf, I would prefer if I had Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers on separate cartridges. Like, if I didn't have any copies of either of them, I would prefer to have them separately, like you do. But since I already have them combined, I'm not going to go out of my way to get them separate. Is just what I'm saying. So I'm saying I kind of agree with you, because I would prefer to have them separate, but I don't prefer it enough to actually take the step and buy them. I just stick with what I have. Mega Man 3. This one has got, like, really dirty. It's got all this, like, fuzz stuck to it. I don't know what happened. It's been stored in a plastic case. I don't know how it got so dirty. Mega Man 2. I think someone colored on this cartridge with a crayon. I think that's what this blue smear is. And on the back, there's like, I don't know, tan or something. I have almost every cartridge Mega Man game in some form. I've got 1 through 6 on the NES. I've got X on the Super NES. I've got Mega Man 7, X2, and X3 on the Super Famicom. And I've got 4 of the 5 Game Boy Mega Man games. I don't have Mega Man 5 on Game Boy, and I don't have the one on Genesis that was never released in North America. I think those are the I think those are the only 2 Mega Man cartridges I don't own. Mega Man 5 on Game Boy is crazy expensive though. Alright, and the first one, the original Mega Man. Gotta get real close to the camera with that box art there. I love Mega Man 1 box art. It's fantastic. I don't know which game it was, but I love that they made a fighting game like, I don't know, it's like 10 years ago now. But they made a fighting game and they announced Mega Man as a playable character in it, and they based his design on the box art from Mega Man 1. Instead of like the real Mega Man, it's this guy. It's so amazing. Street Fighter Cross Tekken, yeah. I can't believe they did that. It's wonderful. I'm not really into cosplay personally, but if I was, box art Mega Man would be on the top of my list. It's so ugly. It is, but I mean that's kind of what makes it beautiful. Halloween costume. I'd love to. I very rarely have the energy to do a proper Halloween costume. Legend of Zelda. My label here is a little worse for the wear, unfortunately, but I mean, what you gonna do? And just like Adventure of Link, I've got the manual for this one. Just for anyone who wasn't here when I explained this, it's very weird and rare that I have any manuals for any NES games. I don't think I've ever bought an NES game that came with the manual. All of my manuals I got just by chance from encountering someone who had these and was going to throw them away. And I took them instead of letting them throw them away. Yeah, it was a real stroke of luck for me. There's maybe one, there may be two exceptions, actually, now I think about it. I think my copy of Star Tropics 2, I think that came with a manual. And I think I bought manuals separately for the original Castlevania and Simon's Quest. I think those three manuals are the only ones that weren't part of the collection of them that I saved from the trash. So I keep games in rental cases if they're... It's kind of arbitrary. It's like I only have so many rental cases, so I've got to put like my best games in rental cases. And how I determine that is like, I don't know. Are they rare, or are they a complete set, or are they charismatic in some way, like they're classics? So it doesn't always make sense. Because one of the games that gets a rental case, and I cannot justify it, is the Cryon Conquest. Hey, Kid Icarus? It's got a lovely plain silver manual. Ghosts and Goblins, an all-time favorite. First game I played on stream. This one gets the red rental case. DuckTales 2. And DuckTales 1. These both get blue rental cases. Both high-priced games yet nowadays. Yeah, DuckTales. I think DuckTales 2 was pretty expensive when I got it. I think the first one I got pretty cheap. The second one I feel like I paid like maybe around $50 or $60 for. It's hard to remember. It was several years ago. Contra, a new favorite. Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. All right, hey, I'm gonna pause here for a moment. We're getting a raid coming in. We'll make sure everybody gets past the commercial. Hello there, 09B13. Wah. All right, hopefully you can hear me now, Mazin. Welcome in, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the raid. And welcome to Collection Inventory, and welcome to your friends. We're happy to have you here. We're going through my NES games today. Just for anyone if you're not familiar with what I'm doing, all I'm doing is setting my games on the table and taking pictures of them with my tablet for my collection app. And you know, we're just hanging out, enjoying our Saturday, and people are encouraged to sort of chat with me about games, and yeah, we're just hanging out. Basically a just chatting stream here in the retro category. But you guys came in at a really good time because I just got to my Castlevania games with Dracula's Curse. I played this. I've only played through this game once. I played it on stream several months ago, and I feel like the first session was like 9 hours. I wanted to do it in one sitting, but I just couldn't make it happen. So I played it for like I think it was close to 9 hours the first night, and then I think it was 3 the second night to finish it off. And boy, what a challenge! What a tough time this game was for me. But it's really good. It's really good. Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. This game... Oh, it's got someone's name on the back. Henson apparently used to own this game. This game is... I don't know... I know I've played this game. I honestly cannot remember if I have beaten this game myself or if I've just seen other people beat it. I haven't played it on stream yet. I'm not an expert in the game. I want to play it on stream, but it's really cryptic, and because I play games, you know, blind, like some stuff has been spoiled for me, but there's definitely stuff that I don't know how to figure out. And so when I play it on stream, it's going to be very challenging. So as much as I want to play it, I'm also very scared to play it. Okay, I've got a manual for this one. The Simon's Quest manual has the cover printed on the cover art printed on the front and the back. And the original Castlevania. Another much-loved game. And I'm lucky enough to have a manual for this one too, and it's the same thing. They put the title art on both sides. And it actually fooled me. I thought the back was the front. Alright, hey, thank you for the follow, 9B. I'm not really sure what to call you because your name is unpronounceable. Is there something you prefer to go by? Alright, The Adventures of Lolo 3. I've got all 3 of the Lolo games. There's actually a 4th. There's one on the Game Boy that I don't own. I wonder how expensive it is and if it would be worth tracking it down, because I really loved Lolo as a kid. I don't think I ever played the 3rd one. I think I only played 1 and 2, but I don't really remember. I didn't own them, but my father would rent them from a grocery store when I was a kid, and when I was really young, and we would play them. I remember loving the games, but I don't remember the specifics of them very well, except for the first one, because I played it on stream a couple months ago. I want to play Lolo. I want to play Lolo 2 or 1 and 2. I want to play Lolo 2 and 3 on stream, But the thing is that they're not, like, I think they're a lot of fun, but I don't think they're great streaming material because most of the stream is just me staring silently at the board trying to figure out the puzzle. Hello, Mazen. This is how long it takes me to switch over from my own stream to here with all the stupid audio stuff for the charity. Well, I'm glad to have you here, Mazen. That sounds terribly inconvenient. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you going through the effort and to bring a raid in and join us over here. Adventures of Lolo 2. Sorry, I gotta redo that Lolo 3, that Lolo 3 photo because I just noticed it's horribly out of focus. None of these photos look particularly great, but I can at least make that one look a little less bad. What's the name of the app you're using? So the app I'm using is called Collection Manager. Its icon is just like a blue icon with some red wine bottles. I think that's what it was designed for. I think the person who made it because like he wanted to make his own app for inventorying his like wine cellar or something like that. That's my guess, because although why would it be wine bottles? I guess they could be bowling pins, but I don't know anyone who collects bowling pins. It's not a great app though. It's an okay app. It's good because it lets me add titles in several different collections. It lets me add a picture of the item so I can scroll through things by looking at them. And it lets you add metadata to the items, so I can add, you know, like whether or not I have a manual or whether or not I have a box. But the app is really inconvenient. Like, it automatically alphabetizes the items in your collection, but when you go to the menu with the list of collections, they exist in order of creation, and there's no way to reorganize them and no way to alphabetize them. So if I read down my list of collections, it's NES, N64, Virtual Boy, Super Nintendo, Super Famicom, Famicom, Atari, Switch, Wii U, Wii, GameCube, Game Boy, PSP, GBA, 3DS. Like, they're all in just a really bad random order, and I can't switch the order around. That kind of thing frustrates me. Also, the app, it can't reverse itself. If you turn your tablet upside down, then it stays upside down. And if you mistype something, and you need to, like, correct a spelling error, you can't just correct one character. You have to delete the whole line and type it all again, which is really annoying if you've got a title that's, like, really long. So it's definitely got problems, this app. But I already started using it. I put so much time and effort into it, I'm stuck with it. So now, despite, even though I wouldn't really recommend it to anyone else, I'm committed to it. Sounds like something one could do in 48 hours. Someone probably could, but I couldn't. I'm pretty sure if I was rushing, I could recreate something in BASIC in a day. It's not great, but it's serviceable. Okay, so that's all of my NES games in rental carts or cases. So let me put these away and I'll go get another set of games. How many games do you have? Yes. Frownie has them all. So NES games, I have about 150. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we've inventoried about 30 of them so far. You know, I'm not exactly going at a lightning pace. Total games in my collection, I have over 1,000 spread across all my different consoles. NES is probably my largest single collection with about 150 games. Nintendo 64 would be the second biggest. It's also around 150 games. I don't know how many exactly. Alright, so yeah, like I said, let me go grab some more games. Okay, sorry it took a little longer than I thought it would. Pally says mine's GameCube and then SNES. Yeah, my SNES collection is right at 100. I think I have like 98 games. GameCube, I'm not sure. GameCube almost 60. So this isn't an official game. This is like a reproduction cart of a homebrew hack. Not sure. It's called Ghosts and Goblins All Hallows Eve. I actually haven't played it yet, so it might be good to play on a Halloween. This was given to me as a gift. It was given to me as a gift by 2 separate people. So I've got 2 copies of it. They both gave it to me at the same time. I mean, not at the same place, but like I got both copies like a day apart. I'm loving the red. It's pretty cool. I hope it's decent. Yeah, I should get around to playing it, maybe later this month. Mazin says, easily Game Boy for me when you only count physical games. Yeah. So yeah, I'm only counting physical games for these systems. I do have some digital-only games, but I don't have a whole lot. Probably got more PC games. I have a lot of games on Steam, and I don't even play PC games. Okay, so this, I don't know, since this isn't an official game, I don't really know how to handle it for inventory purposes. I think I'm going to not count it for now. I'll think about it, maybe come back to it. Where do you guys get all the money from to afford so many games that you don't even play? Well, when it comes to the PC games, I would just pick stuff up in sales, where you could get, you know, like 5 to 10 games for like $1 or something like that. So they're mostly, a lot of them are probably garbage. When I lived for a while, when I was living overseas, I didn't have any consoles for a while, and so I was like, but I had a laptop, so I was thinking, yeah, I'll just, I was like, well, maybe I'll try being a PC gamer, and I'll put Steam on my laptop, and I kept buying games, but never playing them. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna duplicate my console collection over here. There can be crazy good games for very cheap. Yeah, especially with like sales on those online stores. You can get some really good stuff. But I've also got a whole lot of nonsense too. And when it comes to all the physical games that I have that I've never played, like all these retro games, it's just, I don't know, it's just, that was my main hobby, was just buying games. I bought them without playing them because I knew I wanted to play them someday, but anyway. So, Spy Hunter. Like I got into collecting retro games when I was in middle school, so Like, my collection I've been building for somewhere around 20 to 25 years, somewhere around there. I mean, if you think 10 years, if in 10 years I only bought one game a week, I would have 500 games. And I've been collecting for over 20 years, and I have around 1,000 games. So it's about one a week. Star Soldier. Your collection might be worth around 50K or so. I don't know. That seems maybe a little high to me. I don't know what stuff you have, but thinking of that is crazy. It's definitely a lot of money. Best feeling for me though comes from making a game. I don't think I don't have the skills, the knowledge, or the creativity to make a game myself. This one has 129 written on it. In a couple places. And was once the property of Silver Screen Home Video. Star Voyager. I have no idea what so much of these are. This is the part of the collection that's most likely. This chunk here is the part of the collection that's most likely to have more of the off the beaten path stuff. I mean, there's some mainstream and big title stuff here, but there's also just weird random trash. The Little Mermaid. Little Nemo, the Dream Master. There's something just so satisfying about seeing people play through small games you made, especially discovering the one or two Easter eggs. But one thing I dislike about modern game development is the effort required to make up-to-date games is only growing with time, I feel. Well, fortunately, there are still people like me that love retro throwbacks. And I gotta tell you, you could search far and wide, and you'll probably find it pretty challenging to find someone who gets more excited to find a secret in a video game than I do. I really love finding secrets. Speaking of which, Mazin, what do you think about my channel points? Whoa, Starlight Nomad, welcome in. Thank you so much for the resub. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for the 6 months. Daytime Frownie, that's right. That's right, we're looking at NES games today. Thank you for the 6 months, my guy. You're very welcome, my friend. Next up is Super Dodgeball. I love hiding secrets. It's a win-win, honestly. Yes. I just noticed the channel points when I came in. Nice pot roast right there. It's beautiful. Jelly made that for me. Jelly made that for me last night. I couldn't wait to upload it. How's the inventory going? It's going well. We're about so the NES is my last collection of streamable games. So we're gonna have all the important stuff cataloged really soon here. I've got about 150 NES games, and we've cataloged about 40 of them so far. So we're about a third of the way through. I still have PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and Xbox 360 games, but I don't have any of those consoles currently, so I'm not really in a rush to inventory them since I can't play them on stream. Alright, next up, City Collection. Why didn't you have that icon earlier? Aren't you affiliate for ages already? Well, I've been an affiliate for a while, but I didn't know what to call my channel points. I was trying to think of a clever name for them. And I finally decided on Secret Meats. Which is such a funny name, I think. And then I needed Jelly to make the artwork for me. Is there some sort of export feature on your app so that you can share your collection? There's no export feature, but I do share my collection. I duplicate all of this work on VG Collect. So that link right there should show you my collection. It's up to date with everything we've done before today, and the stuff I'm doing today I'll probably put in there over the next 2 or 3 days. And so you think, well, if he does the VG Collect, why am I doing it offline? Well, or why am I doing it on the app? And I'm doing it on the app because I want to be able to carry my inventory with me when I go out, on the rare occasions when I go out game hunting. I need an inventory that I can see without the internet. Oh, and City Connection I have a manual for. It's got some nice cartoony artwork on it there. While we're at it, what do you think about my channel points, though? I think that they're all right, Mazin. I think that you need a redemption though for a spicy pepper. I like that you're experimenting with like the polls and the predictions and stuff. I feel like I should do more of those. I haven't really been using those. Any specific reason for secret meat? Yeah. So the secret meat is it's a health item that you find in Castlevania games, hidden in the wall, because they're always hidden somewhere. So that's why they're secret meats, and I like finding secrets in games. So it kind of makes sense in a weird way. Is that emote character? Is that from Spice and Wolf? Starlight Nomad? I find it really hard to deal with all of the channel point stuff while also being the streamer. I feel you need mods to do that for you. Yeah, maybe I should see if I can talk Sparrow or Cows into running polls for us or something like that. It might be, I have no way of knowing. I think it's an OC. That emote is from a streamer who does art. It just reminded me of it, so I thought maybe it could be. It's hard to tell with the emotes sometimes. They're so small. Oh, I don't know if I held this one up. This is Captain Skyhawk. We have Cabal. I do art too. I wish Mazin would experiment more on his Discord server. Just kidding, you're doing great. Have you thought about what some of your other emotes are going to be when you get the slots unlocked, Mazin? Are you gonna stick to a Castlevania theme? So I haven't played this game yet, but I remember buying it because I bought it specifically because it's I bought this game because I like wild guns. I don't own wild guns for the Super Nintendo, unfortunately. I have the remake on the Switch, which is all right. And I like that game, and so I wanted to find more games like it, and so that's the only reason I bought this one, is because I understand it to be like that one. Kung Fu. I'm not even sure I'll keep those I have, but they seem to be easily exchangeable, so I don't have to overthink it yet. Yeah, I think that's new, too, because I don't think the ability to swap the emotes out was there when I first got it a couple months ago. Because I switched a couple of my emotes around really early on, and it was a real chore. Legacy of the Wizard. This is another game. I don't really know anything about this game. I played it very, very briefly. This was another one that was among the first ones I bought when I got into retro gaming, and I first started building my NES collection. I bought this one, and the only reason I bought it is because it's one of the games that they had at the drugstore for sale. And I've only ever probably played like 10 minutes of it in my life because I played it and I was like, I couldn't figure it out. I was like, oh, this is terrible. And to be clear, I don't actually know if this game is good or bad. I was just too dumb to figure it out when I bought it. Oh, I mentioned it on in Mazin's chat, but I haven't mentioned it on my own stream. For anyone who's interested, my Castlevania the Adventure speedrun was approved. I'm now officially on the leaderboards. And they rounded my time, so I'm tied for 4th place. Because I think I'm less than a second slower than the 4th place person. But because of the rounding, I'm tied with them. It kind of cheated 4th place, but whatever. That's kind of what I was getting at, Mazin. But I'll take it. It wasn't my decision. They gave it to me. I didn't make them. Pally, hey, thank you for the 13 bits. Frownie to the top. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. So now that run is on the leaderboard, I'm gonna start grinding for a better one probably next week. I'll do it. I'm not sure when, but we'll do it maybe a couple nights next week. My plan is kind of to work on the speed run. and then every time I get a new PB, I'll take a break while I'm waiting for it to get approved. I might go more into Splatoon emotes once I finally manage to get to my main content for once. I don't think I've ever seen you stream Splatoon, Mazin. Next up we have my voice is cracking. Next up we have Nightshade. This has got metal stickers all over it. I think Splatoon is not too much fun to watch in a stream, in my opinion. I don't know. I've never watched a Splatoon stream, so you may have a point. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Honestly, I tried streaming coding, but with my internet connection, it's really hard. I only hear adventure, Mazin says. Do a lot of people stream coding? That must be interesting if you're into it, but I would feel like I would just be lost. Splatoon content is definitely niche, but there's absolutely an audience for it, Starlight Nomad says. The Adventures of Bayou Billy. There's a category for it, a category for programming. I didn't know that. There's so many corners of the Twitch universe that I am just completely unaware of. Maybe not programming, there's one called Science and Technology. Okay. The owner of Osu streams development of the game. It's pretty cool to watch sometimes. It's hard for me to make some parts of programming interesting. Some parts can definitely be interesting, but some others won't be to the experienced software engineer or developer. Mickey Mousecapade. Hang on, wait a minute. Wait a minute, are streamers supposed to be making their content interesting? Oh no, I've been doing this wrong the whole time. Road Blasters. The Rocketeer. I really need to rewatch this movie because I've only seen it once. I saw it in the theater when I was a kid, and I've only seen it once, but it really, really made an impression on me because for the next like several months after I saw this movie, I kept drawing comic strips about a superhero with a rocket. A rocket jetpack was his only superpower. I just completely stole the idea. So I must have been super fascinated with the movie, but for whatever reason, I've never watched it since. I would be horrified to fly around with a jetpack strapped to my back, though. That would be an absolutely terrible experience. I think I'm a little afraid of heights. I might even be a lot afraid of heights. Rocket Ranger. Though I do like climbing up onto mountains and cliffs, so it's not really the being high, I think it's the being in the air. That's the problem. Saying he's not entertaining, more like Agent Frownie, am I right? I mean, I do have an Agent Frownie in clown makeup as one of my frequently used icons. I wonder if this is this Rocket Ranger game. I wonder if this is the same thing as the Rocketeer. It's just a dude with a jetpack. Sparkster had a rocket pack too, and I liked that game as a kid. I don't know why. I don't know why I like all these rocket pack characters. When, like I said, I would be so scared to fly around with a rocket pack. When I try to stream coding, I try to make it a learning experience. A lot of people who drop by are either really experienced or just wrote their first line not long ago. So it's hard to appeal to both at the same time. I get that. I get that. By the way, Frownie, do you by any chance know what your Steam username? In case it's public, I'm curious what games you have. My Steam information is not public. Rygar. I actually don't have a PC currently that is even really capable of playing my Steam collection. I had a Windows desktop, but it recently became something is wrong with the video output where it's completely unusable. I stream off of a desktop. My desktop runs Linux, though, and a lot of my Steam collection won't work on it. And even if it did, my laptop is not powerful enough to play a game and stream that game at the same time. So my Steam collection may be a curiosity, but it's not practical in any way because I won't be streaming anything from it. Don't worry about it, just curious. Imagine streaming all your physical games to everyone in the world, but keeping your digital games secret. Well, there's also the issue of my Steam username is a different username. Like my Steam account is not Agent Frownie. It's a different username, and that username, like, I don't know what social media I have that's also connected to that username, and how much of my real world personal data is findable, and so I don't want to advertise it without covering all my bases first. I know, because I searched Agent Frownie before. By the way, do you guys hide your SW profile info or not? What is SW? Ghostbusters. The Switch. Oh, well, I guess I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I don't really advertise my Switch info, but I don't keep it super hidden either. I haven't purposely hidden any of my Switch info. But I haven't purposely published any of it either. Oh, I don't know if I think I held this one up. Ghostbusters. I have to come back to this game on the stream sometime, because we made it to the stairwell ghosts. I don't know if I can ever get past those stairwells, but I feel like we've got to try it again some night, and that's gonna be a bad night. Playing Ghostbusters is almost as bad as playing E.T. Ghostbusters 2. I picked this one up kind of recently, and it's got this big nasty crack in it. I knew that when I bought it, but Ah, here we go. This is a good one. Check out my copy of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. How do you like that label? The label makes you sad. I got one better than that. I was over there looking all around for a game that was right next to me the whole time. So I thought one of the good things about streaming this whole process is, you know, one, it's less boring if I don't have to do it all alone, but also it creates a good record of my inventory for insurance purposes. So, you know, if my house burns down or I get burglarized again or something like that, I've got some good, strong evidence now of the things that I owned. Related to that, this is my copy of Battletoads. But if my house ever burns down, this is my copy of Stadium Events. Or Nintendo World Championships. Take your pick. That's horrible. I mean, someone intentionally removed this label, right? You know what? The thing is about this, I don't think I've ever tried playing this, so this might not even be Battletoads. This could be any game, and someone just wrote Battletoads on it. Gyromite. Back up. So Gyromite, I had this game as a kid for our NES. It was one of the ones that, you know, I had, then my parents got rid of it, and I ended up buying another copy of it at some point after I got back into retro games. But I had this game as a kid. I never had the Rob the Robot, and I never even knew it existed. So I just thought this was a really bad game. Secrets of the NES lockout chip are well known at this point. Gyrus. This might be fun to play. I've never played the NES version of this. I played this. This was one of the games I had on the Commodore 64 when I was really little, and I liked it a lot on the C64. I played it on the Atari recently, and it was pretty good on the Atari. That's got someone's whole name written on the back. It was pretty fun on the Atari, so I expect the Super Nintendo version is probably, or the NES version of it's probably really good, too. Oh no, so I played Space Invaders on the Atari and the SNES, and Frogger on the Atari and the SNES, and I like the Atari version of both of those better. Of the Guardian Legend. It's also got someone's full name written on it. I never wrote my name or my initials or really anything on any of the games that I owned. Like that was never a thing I wanted to do. I guess maybe like if I like traded games when I was a kid with other people, or I lent my games to friends, then I would have been like more motivated to write my name on them. But I never really did that. I borrowed games from friends a lot, but I almost never lent games out because all of my friends had way more games than I did. And basically every game that I had when I was a kid, my friends had those and more. So there was never anything for them to borrow from me. Anticipation. Go 13. Or Top Secret Episode. I'm not entirely sure which one is the title. Sky Shark. Snake's Revenge. Something in that card is rattling. Oh no, I spelled revenge wrong. Solar Jetman. I think my sister gave me this game. I feel like she sent it to me just randomly one day. It might have been like a birthday gift or something, but it was definitely out of the blue. Tiger Heli. So this, I got the manual for this one. It's been sitting here for like the whole stream. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I don't remember much about this movie, but I remember, so spoilers, I remember that Christopher Lloyd plays the bad guy, and when he dies at the end, it horrified me as a child. Ghoul School. Did I hear Christopher? Okay, I'll stop it. Sorry. Mazin, you're like the definition of a one-track mind. So this game, I actually am not sure if this cartridge even works. I feel like I tried to play this once and I couldn't get it to work at all. The contacts look horrible. I think to play this, I'm gonna actually have to open it up and scrub these contacts with like a magic eraser or something, because I don't think that the old Q-tip and alcohol method is going to be strong enough. These look really corroded, but it may have suffered some internal like liquid damage or something. I'm not sure. I'm gonna, after I photograph it here, I'm gonna set it aside so I remember to look at it later. Wrath of the Black Manta? Hogan's Alley? It reminds me of the Kung Fu game. Apparently they only did flying jump kicks in martial arts pre-2000. So Starlight Nomad, if you think back to my my Double Dragon playthrough, I don't blame them. Flying jump kicks are very useful. How do you play that music on the stream, by the way? So I've got the I have this music as a MP3 file on my desktop, and if you're using OBS under sources, you can add a source and add a media source, and then you can select your MP3 files. I don't know if you can do playlists. I think you have to do individual. I think that you have to do each individual track, but I don't know. But I have all these songs in one really long MP3. They're all in the same file. So it's not playing separate files for each song, it's just playing one giant file on loop. The Moffat Conspiracy? Excuse me. Sorry about that. Ikari Warriors 2, Victory Road. I have Ikari Warriors 2, but I don't think I own Ikari Warriors 1. Oh no. I'm gonna have to buy the first one just because I own the second one. Here's a weird cartridge. The Fantastic Adventures of Dizzy. So, So I was kind of on the fence about whether or not to include that sort of homebrew Ghosts and Goblins cartridge, since it's not an official cartridge. Excuse me. I guess if I'm gonna include a cartridge like this, then I guess that one deserves to be included as well. Also, what did you guys talk about me behind my back, or was it that Japanese guy and 9B? I forgot. I don't recall talking about you, Mazin. Bel-Air, Jeff, and I were talking about Castlevania Chronicles when we were in your stream, when we were in your chat. Just in case you weren't here before, this is what I was talking about. It's like a homebrew sequel to Ghosts and Goblins called All Hallows Eve. And I have 2 copies of it because 2 different people gave me a copy of it at almost the same time. Platoon. Predator. Then it was 9B and that Japanese guy's stream in that case. I did. Oh, so okay, I thought you meant in your stream. So on Bel-Air Jeff's stream, on his stream, I talked about you in his chat. I just told him about how you were really good at Castlevania the Adventure, and you got me into speedrunning it. He said that you were there during his playthrough, and that you were that he thought you were trying to get him to speedrun it too. It was all good things, Mazin. He said you were great and really helped him to get through the game. All right, so this is Quattro Adventure. It's got 4 games on it. It's got Boomerang Kid, Super Robin Hood, Linus Spacehead, and Treasure Island Dizzy. Rad Racer. Finally, another game with a manual. Kind of plain. And Rad Racer 2. Look at the huge chunk missing out of this cartridge. How does this even happen? The piece isn't inside it or anything either. It's just gone. Rambo. RC Pro-Am. Another instruction manual game. Shooting range. All right, and the last game in this part of the collection, not the last game. There's still a lot more, but the last one in this group that I grabbed is Silent Service. It looks like we're right around the 80 game mark, and we've got just over 60 left to inventory. I don't know if I'm going to make it through all of them today. So I was playing... Excuse me, I'm sorry. I hate to cough at the mic like that. I really wanted to get all the way through these. I was planning on streaming until 6, and it's about a quarter after right now. I'm going to keep going for a while, so we will get some more done, but I don't know if I'm going to make it through the whole collection. I also would hate to leave off with just like 30 games left, though, so maybe I'll power through. You see, I really want to have all of these done, because if I get them on my tablet, it makes it easy to update the VG Collect page, and I really want to get the VG Collect page done, because I'm going to let people start picking games on stream. And so they need access to the knowledge of what I have for that to work smoothly. So that's why I'm really pushing to try and get things finished with the inventory here. All right, so let me get these out of the way and get the next batch brought over. This isn't a game, but it's another just kind of cool thing. You may have seen it in the background of a stream, but I'll show it to you up close. What is it called? This is a Nintendo trophy figure from The Legend of Zelda. It's a little statue of Link from I don't know how old this is. This is from 1988. But it's kind of cool. It's pretty ugly. No, I'm sorry if there's a lot of glare on it. Link's pretty ugly. But I like it alright. It's not sealed or anything, so I'll bring him out. Oh, never mind, I won't. He's really stuck in there. There's like some clear plastic thing holding him in. I can't take him out because of that. So sorry about that. Apparently they made a lot of these trophies. I've seen them for Mario. There's I think there's 6 different Zelda ones. I've seen them for Mario too. But I keep this on a shelf, and I have this like really big Breath of the Wild link that someone gave me, and so I keep these two on a shelf next to each other. I've got a Link statue from the first game and a Link statue from the most recent game. Link, he hasn't changed a bit. Alright, excuse me for just another moment, my friends. All right, my friends. I'm sorry. I'm gonna run now. I'm sorry. I was hemming and hawing about what I was gonna do, and then I kept you waiting, thinking I was gonna continue, and now I'm actually not. My apologies. Someone just showed up at my house, IRL. So I've got a visitor that I need to attend to. So I'm gonna have to leave you, my friends. But I really appreciate having you here. Thank you for keeping me company. I didn't get through all the inventory, so we're going to do another NES stream sometime real soon. Hopefully tomorrow or Monday. It'll just be another afternoon thing. The next regular gameplay stream is should be Sunday night, 11 p.m. Central Time. Still don't know what I'm going to be playing, but it'll go up in the Discord tomorrow at some point, so you can check that out. But this is going to be the end of our inventory work for today. Thank you so much for viewing the stream. Thanks for chatting with me. Again, I really appreciate your company. Sorry I kind of faked you out there at the end. And we're going to pass on a raid because I won't be able to hang around. So I don't want to be super rude and just immediately run. But yeah, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, my friends. Hopefully I'll get to see you again when it's through. Or if not, then sometime after that. But that's going to be it for me for today. Take care, everybody.